What's up, YouTube? I haven't talked to you in a few days, so I figured it'd be time for me to go ahead and drop another one. But and I know it seems like some of us are playing Ring Around the Rosies sometimes. Some of the other YouTubers and myself that talk about the Mandela effect, and it seems like every time I'm going to talk about one of them or a certain subject, I hear another YouTuber talk about it themselves. So unless I'm going to put out 10 videos a day, I'm not going to be able to like keep up with everybody. But anyway, thanks to everybody that's watching, that's returning, finding it for the first time. Like always, I don't monetize, and I'll always respond to all your comments. Now, if some of you respond to comments by other users, I may not even see your response. Just putting that out there. If I skip you or I miss you, don't take it don't take it as deliberate. But I try to keep as much success rate as I can responding to everybody. So anyway, um, I know that near death experience is something that a lot of you talk about, and a lot of you have something that we all share. The commonalities that we have between each other. Um, I guess I'm still exploring that subject because for the most part, a lot of us have very similar, backgrounds and views. Um, but anyway, um, the near death experience is something that when everybody was talking about it, I didn't really feel like it really pertained to me that much. I don't know. I didn't think, I can't think of a time in my life where I was like passed out or I was knocked out and I had this outer body experience or something. I can't think of a time that's ever happened. So I never really, thought too much about it. But a conversation or something, and the funny thing is I've reclaimed this memory numerous times throughout my life, which I'm going to share with you guys today. But I don't know. It's like it was absent from my memories, and maybe that's what people do with traumatic moments in their life. Maybe they block it out somehow, or they they repress it somehow. So I was thinking maybe that's what I had done was repress that memory. So anyway, um, when I was about 3 years old, I was sitting on the porch waiting for my parents, and my parents were young parents. When I was three, they were probably 20, or somewhere right around there, and they were getting ready to go to Jack in a Box. And I remember they sat me on the front porch. We lived in Dallas at the time, and not the greatest of neighborhoods. But we lived in Dallas, and I was on the porch, and I remember sitting there, like I guess like most little kids do, shuffling their feet, when their legs aren't long enough to reach the ground. And I remember just like shuffling on the porch, and I remember seeing this guy walking down the sidewalk, and then he eventually walked up the little walkway to our front door. He picked me up, put a knife under my throat, and demanded that my parents give him all the money that we had. And of course, we were poor people. We didn't have much of anything. And I remember him screaming, or the guy yelling, saying, "If you don't shut this kid up, I'm going to kill him." And, you know, and of course, I was like 3 years old. There's no way you're going to get like a 3-year-old to stop crying when some stranger, clearly is trying to harm them. But anyway, my parents gave him what they had, and he took the car was actually that we were about to leave in already had the keys in it and was running, if I'm not mistaken. And he he took the car, and he eventually dropped me on the porch. He ran off, jumped in the car. My father, being young and stupid, tried to jump on the car, I guess as if he was going to manhandle 1980s like Thunderbird or something. I don't know what he was thinking, but he tried though. I guess you got to give him points for trying. So I don't know. I guess in other times I've recalled that story, it seems like, a lot of people respond the same way that I kind of feel, is that, wow, I could have died that day, and not too much there long after, My parents and I were very poor, and honestly, this could have been beforehand too. And I didn't intend on telling this story, but it actually just popped up thinking about the story I just told you. But when I was a little kid, about the same age, and it may have been right before, it may have been right after. I really don't remember this one as clear, but we were homeless, and we had nowhere to go, and we were living at the lake out of that same car. I think so. It must have happened before the first memory I told you, but um, I remember being at the lake, because we had nowhere to live, and I was attacked by ants. I I remember walking around in the dark and only basically seeing by moonlight, and I remember I just remember being in pain, and my mother coming to me, and that night they had to take me to the hospital. I'm sure I went into some type of shock. I was just a small child, but I remember being covered in ants. Like I guess like a carcass would be. I mean, I was just covered from head to, I'm not gonna say head to toe, but I remember them being up to like my stomach and my waist, and I remember clearly I was in a lot of pain, and the funny thing is I remember like seeing them and not hurting, and then when I realized them and panicked, of course, I think some of you may be able to attest to this, but it seemed like they all attacked at the same time, and like I remember like it just being shock, and but who knows? There could be multiple reasons for that. But anyway, I don't remember how that night really turned out, but they said that it was really really scary, and I guess all the venom or the poison from that many ants on such a small body, I guess, could have killed me. I don't know. I really just don't remember that memory, like the outcome of that. And, I don't know. There were a few times in my life where I ate things, and I did things that weren't very safe, that they had to rush me to the hospital and hurry up and get my stomach pumped, or I don't know. You could look at it as a bad kid or really crappy parents. I don't know. You could look at it either way, I suppose. But anyway, I guess if some of you feel like there's stories that you'd want to share, and I do have to say thank you to a lot of people out there that are sharing comments that are seems like very personal to them, and I appreciate you putting them out there. And I talk about trolls a lot, and I hear about them and how they mess with people and mess with other. And I've had a couple, but I've had two trolls come back and apologize to me, and you know, from what I said in another video about how like the inner awakening might be, and I don't mean like awakening, hallelujah, whatever. I just mean like that realization where you realize you're a part of something bigger than yourself. Like it might be deeper than the troll. Like even though the troll is on the surface and that's the way they act with people and that's the way they talk to people, there might be some type of inner awakening going on in them they don't even realize, and that just adds substance to that theory, honestly, because I don't know any other way to look at it. And I'm not going to say this works for every single troll, because trolls are going to troll for whatever reasons they troll for, but the ones that I have found here, and I can't speak for every one of them, but I do know that two of them have come back and apologized. And for me, that's I don't know, that says something. It's like when somebody says they were sorry and they were wrong. I mean, it takes a lot for any human being to be able to do that in any situation. So so if they end up watching this, I want to say that I appreciate it and thank you, and it means a lot. And I hope that all of you know that it's out of honesty. Why I put up these videos or how I put them up, my recipe for how I make these videos. It's just honesty. That's it. And actually not caring what anyone thinks about what I have to say. And I encourage everybody to be that way, especially here. If you can't do it in real life, I get it, but I mean, you can at least do it here, even if we disagree. I mean, don't call me a jerk, or an idiot or stupid, but I mean, if you feel like I've done something incorrectly or haven't done it with enough effort, then by all means, let me know. But don't be a jerk and say my hair sucks. That's pretty shitty, man. It's low. I mean, you don't like me, whatever. I mean, I'm not meant to be liked by everybody. I'm not. I don't expect to ever have a popular YouTube channel. I don't expect to ever make money from this. I don't ever expect to be, I don't know, some feared YouTuber in some kind of way. I like the group that I have. I like knowing that people that are like us is the minority. The whole economic system of the world would crash if everybody became like me or like us, that put people before profit or weren't shallow and materialistic people. That's how the whole economy works on this earth, is materialism. So yeah. So anyway, that's my little ending rant right there. But anyway, thanks again to all my subscribers, all my viewers. If you're new here, I promise you, I'll always be honest. I can promise you that. And if anybody watched this much of it, I want to say to anybody out there, um, if you ever want to communicate, if any of you ever want to open up some type of real dialogue and talk about anything, by all means, send me an email. Whatever you'd like. But yeah, contact me if I need to. I'll put up my phone number so people can feel safer about contacting me. Because really and truthfully, even if you contact me on my phone and you like try to prank call me or whatever, it doesn't matter. I can fix that. So, um, but yeah, if anybody ever feels like they want to talk about anything, you can always reach out. And I'm not going to say I'm always available, but I can try. And we can talk however you'd like, and discuss whatever you like. And maybe sometimes it just may feel good just to talk to somebody that I don't know, that's an oddball like you are, I guess, or has similar views, I suppose. I don't know. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. And make sure you leave some comments. And I'll talk to you guys later. All right. Stay strong.